Hey guys, welcome to another Aleroart podcast. I am Aleroart, and today I want to talk about self-promoting. Self-promoting as a creator, cartoonist, illustrator, artist, all around. I just think that doing this kind of stuff, it's like part of the job. You can't just focus primarily just on being creative, which 100% would love to do that kind of thing. But in this in this in this kind of line of work, you kind of have to have like many hats, ski cap, baseball, football helmet, whatnot. You basically are that person, especially starting off. So it's just it's a must have. And if you attended any form of art school or going to college and whatnot, I can't really say that was their market. I'm pretty sure there is a class in marketing, but me going to school, I had some very great art teachers at Columbia College. And I don't think it was, unless it was, if you asked them, it was just never on our radars, because we just, in my opinion, a lot of this is my opinions, is always feeling is that you are there just to sharpen your art skills, but you're not really shown, how do you go about doing that. And me being at art school, and this is around the time the booming of .com coming out. So besides having an email address, anything in social media didn't exist at the time. So I recall like using faxing, and it more was a word of mouth of getting your name out there. And if there were any sites, there were very few that just put up stuff, and I relied heavily on promoting on Craigslist, and that was my how to get my name out. So these are just kind of things that I think about as a promoting. Had a conversation earlier on of asking, like, where did I pick up my will to be able to promote. I can't tell you that. I wish I had a class. Hell, I even tell people I wish I had instructors that would tell you, but again, it's each individual. But I know for myself as an instructor, and though I teach like middle school arts, I do teach my students a little bit more of like, hey, you can make a profit from a drawing. If you make a sticker, it's just to get the little light bulbs in their brains to go and think like, hey, I can make a profit of it. And it's just learning that. And as an adult, doing shows, attending conventions, being part of galleries, you kind of have to have a market like idea in that sense. And if it's a self market, or if you're basing it off of existing content, hell, that's more power to you, and it comes out really cool. I just use my platform to explain what I do, and again, you can use what it is, but at the same time, I'm sure and certain you guys have a better answer. So I'm not the all tell person that knows everything, because I don't. These are my opinions and how I promote. I just do that. So yeah, I really feel this is what I strongly believe, and how I use my my platform to promote. Yeah. So yeah, I'm right now just getting some daily sketches in before I actually start some actual illustration work. I'm in a process of doing some illustration for my graphic novel, and as that being said, I'm just cranking out some sketches, and I'll show the sketches in in the future Patreon posts. So shameless plug there. Thank you all patrons that support. Dave, Jamie, Reef, you guys are awesome. Future Patreon supporters, welcome, thank you. And and this is without me able to do this, you guys really do help me out with this. So yeah, back to like promoting. I'm certain I'm gonna do a couple more of these posts about promoting and different types as a freelance artist or an artist in general. You got to be a fool, and I say it for myself, that me being a cartoonist, I was just gonna do one thing. Stuff like just seeing your favorite creator artist making something, and you just assume they just sit behind a desk and crank out artwork. That's not true. I learned later on, you have to have you got to be like an octopus. As being a brand, you got to do certain other projects to keep your brand afloat. So if I'm a cartoonist, I also teach, and if I also teach, I sell product. If it's sell product, what are the things that I sell as a product? So even more of those like tentacles come about. Excuse me. How to keep the ball going, and how I'm a self-promoter. I see that in this day and age, especially with our social media, there really isn't a be-all only way of putting out your content and selling your content. Your audience is your, breaking it down, it could be your family, your friends, and it's really awesome. Thank you guys again. Strangers, there's something out there that people, can connect to, and to be able to use a platform to sell, like your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can make a print and put your artwork on say a Redbubble, and that's just giving out different places to use. I'm not as familiar, but that's just a place you can use for your selling your content. Besides me making comics, I sell shirts, and I sell apparel, enamel pins, stickers, and stuff like that. I encourage that open up Google and just search what are things that you would want to do. And hell, if you're using those ideas to make shirts, pins, and stickers, that's been going on for a very long time. So it's not a thing of like, oh man, this guy's copying me, or that girl's doing what I'm doing, I'm fucked. Oh, excuse my mouth. That came off as more of like, people being very protective, and I don't feel like that. I think if you're an artist, you should always be creating, and if you are a true creator, you should be thinking in a format of playing chess. And I say this a lot to people. For myself, I think 4 to 5 steps ahead, regardless if it's workable, if it's profitable. I always just try to think ahead. So being a self creator or promoter, or anybody in a business, I can imagine that you always got to be keeping the ball rolling, because if you're not, you're going to be stagnant, and you're going to just be like, why am I not selling? This is not fair, this and that. And that's not my my thinking. And I guess for me, coming from nothing, was pretty much just like, hell, I can put some things together, and that's what I want people to walk away with. There's not just one way to do something, there's other ways. So going, everything revolving around this episode about promoting is, you could do that. If you're making a sticker or you're making a shirt, or if you're doing a piece of artwork and then turning that artwork back into your profits for your brand, it's it's kind of like full circle. And yeah, it is. It's just basically you're growing a brand. So yeah, when you're doing these projects and relying on how to get the name out there, it's really great when you have a team. It's really awesome when you have a big circle that's rooting for you, but there's that flip of the coin that you're pretty much going to be your own American Bandstand, and you're going to be your own drummer, guitarist, kazoo player, the trombone, and walking on air horns. I find it interesting when people do make it. How far do they actually are, bringing along those crowds of people, and saying how much of it, like, without them helps, and it's really cool when you do. But I've noticed, and lately I've been seeing stuff out there that goes like, yeah, I did this all by myself, and you're like tilting your head and looking like, I don't think so. That, hey, I'm over here sipping tea. And then they're the ones that like, hey, you're doing this by yourself, but you gotta really try to get people to see, and not even that, they don't have to see, but if they're invested in it, they could see you working at it. It just means more. So I don't know. Talking about like having a team and not in your promoting strategy. If you can get more people to push the name out there, that's great. But if you can't, you just gotta keep going. You just have to. And I'm a firm believer. It's like whatever doesn't stick on the wall, something will stick. And even if you have a handful of people, and it's beautiful. Like, I've gotten to the point of like, I don't count like high fives and likes. It's more of like, I know who are the people that are supporting because they actually reach out and tell me why they like my work. So yeah, I really try to tell, like, especially my students that come up to me and tell me like, oh, I only have a few followers, and when I promote my work, I'm like, hey, that number could change, but you just got to keep at it, but don't focus on looking. And if not, maybe you should be, do other things, do other type of promoting of your work. And I don't know, just it's a quick ramble of like how people, view your work, and then try to get you to compare followers and whatnot. And, you just can't fall into that, and you start to lose focus on what you're doing, which is creating. So just getting ready for the holidays. I'm in the week of the giving of thanks, and you are just lining up things that you want to promote for the December holiday. I offer to do like portraits, artwork of family, and as well as pets. That's a thing that people ask for because it's more personal. I think it's just more fun to do. If you have like a Secret Santa, or the White Elephant, or grab bag, getting something made, I think that works out too. And this isn't just for people who don't who aren't like creative, but as people who are creative but looking for ideas of what they could have to give. Making stuff for people is definitely a nice gift. So I'm very grateful for everybody that asked for something to help promote for their you can go to the store and buy the latest gadget. I'm assuming this year is going to be Baby Yoda, maybe. Or maybe you can just go and get them one of those Popeye chicken sandwiches. That's very popular too, because everyone talks about that. I just feel like thoughtful gift is more personable when you get something made, and that's one of the things just to offer in a part of as a creator. So just put that out there. Like, if you guys are looking for ideas, just make something that's something people can be excited about. A family portrait or something about a pet. You draw a landscape, that's great too. It's just something personal, and I mean, if you could put it in a frame, that's even cooler. So there you go, part of the ideas of promoting. I know I feel different ideas when I was putting together this today's podcast. I just wanted to talk about what are ideas that go through my head when it comes to promoting. When I promote, I always try to look at what's the full circle. How does it come back to me and my brand, and how can I have it connected to the person that's interested? What is it that brings them back? What brought them there in the first place? Sometimes it's a personal connection, and sometimes it's you have that 3-second window where you post something online and a complete stranger sees what you create and they're just hooked. And I think that's just awesome that you can connect to that. And I think for keeping them interested in what you do, that's another an art in itself. You can make the first thing, but if you can get them to come back one after the other, that's really cool. So I think as an artist or being a creator, you should definitely have something that represents yourself, as well as what is it that people connect to. My stove of creative characters it's like a mixed gumbo, but it's in different pots. I have one pot going where it's of science and superheroes, which is Element Factor. My other pot that's brewing is my Vikings, which is Ultra Marauders. And of course, I have the frying pan going, and it's Alley Cat. Alley Cat, you guys know, is party animal, and he's my Snoopy's Joe Cool. He's just very comical. He's very silly. He's actually my opposite that I would love to be more. He's an introvert. I'm an introvert. He's very wild, and he says things. I say certain things, but I'm just, I just don't act like how he would act. And I think creating him is a great outlet, especially for my, as a promotional tool. Me teaching my workshops and then my after school classes, teaching middle schoolers and even high schoolers, and some adults too that come in. They find that my mascot, Alley Cat, is, kind of like in the sense of like a Bugs Bunny or a Mickey Mouse kind of deal. and it's a tool to help them. So when I do examples, I use my character explaining. So I like that a lot. I don't, I'm fine with my kids not interested in asking Mr. Alejandro, how do I draw? But I'd rather draw examples of Alley Cat, my mascot, explaining how to draw a car, how do you draw, a bicycle. He's definitely that face where I rather you look at him and you guys talk to him than me being the person. But I'm fine with that. I could talk in front of crowds. I've done that multiple times. I've done a TEDx. I've done workshops at comic shows where I talked in front of auditorium audiences, but I really find that people think and connect more with good old Alley Cat. So he's definitely one of those things. And when I tell people, you should have your own character, if that's what you use him for, that's great. But if it's for other purposes, that's awesome. I use Alley Cat as part of my marketing tool when he's promoting. If he's promoting a T-shirt or even of an event that I haven't attend to, I have Alley Cat speak for me. He's my HR, and he's my PR too. So he's the guy that you ask him and I will show up and stuff like that. But in layman's term, people just think he's funny. People follow him on his Instagram, who is _Alley Cat, and he'll just he'll follow back and he'll say, hey, thanks, meow. It's really cool that people dig what I do with this character, and all it's basically is just my take at what I loved growing up with Charles Schultz's Snoopy, and I'm sure we all have that kind of connection with people that want you to have a common interest to bring back to what they have. So when you go and you grew up liking Care Bears, or you liking Thundercats, or South Park, or the list goes on. I'm trying to think of various ones. Tom and Jerry farther back. What is it, why that works for those creators, and why is it that us as the audience are attracted to it? So I think that's some great promoting there, that you could hold their attention, and to an extent Alley Cat offers that when he's online and promoting. So thinking about stuff with promoting. Speaking of Alley Cat and his brand. Wow, that could be another episode in itself as well too. But today we're just going about just different parts of promoting. As a self creator, making content and connecting to an audience. We spoke about keeping and being relevant. You don't want to stand still, as mentioned before. You want to keep, at least 3 to 4 or 5 steps ahead. And if you can't think that far ahead, just try to. Sometimes out of the 5, you might get 1, and the other 4 sink down. Make a product, put it out there, tag your name, and let it see if it's sick, sinks in. that's how it is. I think trying different methods. A lot of us that do create and that are more successful at it even notice they probably had a bunch of failures, and they'll admit to it too. And if they don't, those guys, they're lying. But if you're a real content creator and you're a promoter, you'll know and accept that, hey, I'm gonna have failures, but it's okay because tomorrow is another day, and I'm gonna do my best for today, if that makes sense. Because that's how I think. I don't want to say always, but I always try to figure out where that came from. And I always just think that from my background, not really having a lot, and it's not using the little small violin of like, oh, pity, whatever. I think that fuels me as a creator and as Aleroart is I think a lot of people assume that if you look like you're failing, you got to go sit down. But the truth of the matter is that you just got to roll with it and make it, and then make the next thing, and let people worry about that and move on to the next, the next project. The Andy Warhol saying goes, don't worry about what people think what you're making. While people are critiquing, you're working on the next thing. And that's true. And I think for myself, that's why I'm consistently making product. And I love that you guys comment and say, man, it's really cool. But it's really just how I work. And, we all have our days of like freezing up and don't want to put pen to paper or something digital, or we have a brain fart. I think the important thing is just to keep that wheel going, and you marketing and promoting. You're just trying to see what will work next, and I think that's the key. You just got to keep looking at other possibilities. If Alley Cat is a sticker, if he's a comic book, if he's a shirt, if he's a poster, if he's animated, it's like endless with this promoting. I remember a guy walking up to me and saw that I had for one of my comic books. I had a coloring book and I had a toy, and I think the way the guy said it, I burst out laughing because he used the word wrong, but he pretty much told me, he goes, "Oh, you're an opportunist." And opportunist kind of in my brain and my backwards brain it sounds kind of like evil, like you're opportunist because, and I think the guy meant more is that trying to figure out what that word is, but opportunist really does sound kind of sour. And I see people that when they make content, I could see they're there for $1, and hell, I would love to make money, but at the same time, if you walk away and you don't buy anything, that's fine. But I think for an opportunist, if you're jumping on a bandwagon and you're making the flavor of the day and you're not really invested in the audience, but you're out, that sounds more opportunist. And I could be wrong, and I just feel like that's that kind of word of doing that. Are you making content just to be a one-trick pony, or are you making a road that will lead to people to come back to? Man, it's weird analogy that I just did right there, but yeah, that's how I think. I want people to grow with me. I want people that knew me when I was a kid and knew me as the guy that drew in class, that 20-30 years later they're just saying like, wow, this guy's still at it, and he uses this to help him travel, and the audience around follow and support that. That's what I want. I don't want to be known, and I don't want to give out the idea that when you promote, you should be creating something that people will pretty much toss away. I want an investment, and my part in investing in promoting is just pretty much to get people to see that, you got to be in it for the long run. And majority of the times it could be low, and there could be great times when you're at your high. But if you could maintain in the middle, I think that's cool. And I feel like I'm at that part. I have my good days and then I have my bad days, but I'm consistent. And I've worked places that weren't art related, but always going back to my art. And then with my art, I can't leave it. Even being in a relationship, dating, telling letting them know that, hey, my artwork is who I am, and you have to know that she's always gonna be there, and she's gonna have to accept that. And I've been fortunate to be in relationships that grasped and knew what I wanted to do, and they accepted it. And then others that, say, hey, you got to stop this. And sometimes you just got to stand back and say, is this why I'm in the relationship or what? And my thing is, the art thing is always going to be with me, and that's pretty much that. So, I don't know. All like tumbling back to like promoting, having that kind of support in your work and getting your name out there. That's an awesome feeling to have in your work. And back to with, like, say, promoting your work. So I don't know. We are individuals, are a walking, in a way, a walking billboard. And whether it's not on your clothes presenting it, but your social media, you are a walking advertisement. And if you're making content and you're not thinking about it, you should be thinking about it. You should be wanting to be getting your name out there each and every day. And if you can't do every day, just a couple of like times out of the week. I don't know if you're driven by numbers. And I mentioned before, I don't look at that, but it's cool, because if you tend to, and you know what I mean by that is, you kind of freeze up and you don't look at your work. You're more of trying to figure out who's looking at what. So I really try to step away from that. But this self-promoting world is a two-sided sword. On one end, if you interact with me online about like tools and stuff like that, I love that. I love when people ask questions. I love speaking about it. But at the same time, the other part is that I can't stay on there too long, because I fall into the rabbit hole, and then I'm looking at other cool things that are out, like movies and cool figures and events and stuff like that. So you're kind of like I'm like a dog chasing a truck, and I just get really excited, and I don't hold it together like many of my conversations. But yeah, when I tell people about self-promoting, always just step aside and like write down, what are your goals for the day? How do you want it to be presented for your audience? And what are you walking away with the feeling of it? Is it something that you're making? If it's at a bad day, is it a good day? Is it a day of love? What is it? Like, try to have meaning behind that, and not make it like, as that word bringing up before, is like opportunist, because it's that word is just it's like a weird word in my brain. I mean, if I'm certain the definition of opportunist, you're making yourself making yourself like useful, or have you be part of something to fill that day. And when I hear that in the art world, it makes it sound like you're just trying to make the flavor of the day, and it doesn't feel connected, doesn't feel genuine. It's just like, if I don't know the character, I don't think I could draw it. I don't know. I step back and say, can I draw you something else? And if you give me time, maybe I can look it up and then I'll draw it. But yeah, that word's just so weird in this crazy word of a world that, you know, creating content. So I don't know. I feel like me doing these podcasts, I'm getting better. I know at understanding how to present my content. It does narrow down what my goals are for the project that I'm working on. So yeah, I think the key thing is basically just saying, creating the content. It's okay to make a mess up. It's okay to have hiccups. Just keep at it. And we're promoting too. When you're promoting, you know, getting the name out there, getting the customer client to why they like your brand and why they come back to it. So I will be doing more of these. These are just more of like weekly podcast posts about making content, and I love it. I hope that you guys are creating work. You guys are having a good week. We are falling in the holiday season. I hope everyone has a great one. I hope that the next project you guys are doing is great. I hope that the day is good. So I just want to say thank you again for checking out this Aleroart podcast. And today is just basic rambling, and I know left and right with my talking about promoting was kind of wacky, but it was really cool to get that out there. I want to say thank you for listening. I want to thank my patrons, Dave, Jamie, and Reef for following and helping me out. I want to thank you guys for checking out what I do. So we'll be posting more. We'll have more video content. That's a new thing. I am going to be promoting a new coloring book with Aleroart that I hope you guys get to check out. And we'll be offering exclusive Patreon PDFs to be able to print out and to share. Yeah, so I want to thank everybody. I talk to you soon. I'm Aleroart, and I'm on all social medias as Aleroart, and you can check me out at aleroart.com as well. So that being said, guys, have a good one. Peace out.